How do discarded materials shape the spaces we inhabit? In an epoch where digital processes and ecological crises intersect, this studio explores the latent possibilities of recycled plastics and glass, not as mere remnants of consumption but as agents and archives of contemporary life. This studio focuses on designing and fabricating modular outdoor installations for Georgia Tech's campus, including reconfigurable furniture and a multi-use stage for public events. Supported by the Arts at Tech Catalyst grant, the project reconceptualizes recycled plastics and glass procured from campus waste streams and local donations as critical architectural materials. By merging sustainability, advanced design methodologies, and computational fabrication, the studio contributes tangible outcomes to both the university and the broader Atlanta community. The final installation, completed by summer 2025, will demonstrate the potential of sustainable design practices in academic and public settings. Central to this course is the notion of materiality as an active participant in the design process. Drawing from new materialism, post-humanism, and computational design theory, the studio situates material making as both a practical and conceptual endeavor. Jane Bennett's concept of thing power and Tim Ingold's material engagement theories inform our treatment of recycled plastics and glass as transformative agents. Processes such as melting, casting, and fusing materials foster a dialogue between design intent and material behavior, where form emerges through the coevolution of creativity and environmental responsiveness. Ellie Abron's post-digital materiality further enriches the studio's framework, underscoring the interplay of physical and digital processes. Students will explore pattern making, color blending, and surface manipulation to articulate new forms of architectural expression. A deliberate embrace of artifice and hybridity shifts the focus from natural authenticity to a contemporary aesthetic that reflects the pervasive influence of digitality. In this context, material hybridization and composite creation serve as focal points of this studio. By combining multiple types of recycled plastics with varying colors, textures, and material properties, students will create composites that feature intricate patterns and enhanced structural performance. These experiments will redefine the relationship between materials, aesthetics, and architectural innovation. The final installations will embody a dialogue between material behavior, computational processes, and cultural context, presenting a regenerative design ethos that transforms waste into innovation. This studio challenges students to go beyond upcycling, reinventing architecture's engagement with materials and the systems that produce them. Through this process, students will gain hands-on experience in innovative fabrication techniques, develop a nuanced understanding of material behavior, and contribute to a growing discourse on the role of architecture in addressing ecological and social imperatives.
Change the way you think about design?
Yeah, working with recycled materials definitely gives you a new perspective. It already has a form, it's already lived a life, and so you don't really have that when something's brand new. You make it what you want to be straight from the get-go. And so something that already has a life, you kind of want to tell that story and continue it on. And so all of this recycled plastics that we have, like, I kept the color of it, I kept the behavior of it, and using that to tell a story that you can use something that's garbage and create design out of it, and not just a design, but something that is in the realm of excellence and higher design and something that looks more professional, kind of telling that new story of something that's old and already used can still be something beautiful.
Was there anything surprising in the process that you kind of found yourself having to figure out?
Yeah, so I had never worked with plastic before, ever. And you learn very quickly different types of plastics behave very differently. And so there are 7 different types of plastics. And the 2 that I worked with were PLA and HDPE. And the PLA gets liquid very fast and dries kind of brittle. And then the HDPE takes much longer to dry, but still has a lot of strength when it does dry. And so using those as the design tools, informing like what you're going to create, how you're going to build it. And then the other thing that was a very big factor here in the studio was that plastic shrinks a lot. It has a very large shrinkage. And so you kind of have to think about that.
How do you think this project will affect the way people use or experience plastic or waste on campus?
I think it's good that we used recycled plastic from campus. Like we used a lot of milk jugs, and we used a lot of the PLA. That's the 3D print plastic, is PLA. And we took all of that from the 3D printing shops on campus to use. So I hope it makes people more cognizant, especially in 3D printing. Most people will add a bunch of supports, and then you break them off, you throw them away. Like 50% of your 3D print is actually scrap that you just throw away at the end of it and you don't care about it. Or, obviously people use plastic utility, like, you throw it all away after you're at the lunch hall or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All the cutlery goes in a recycling bin, hopefully, or the trash. I would love for people to see that just the sheer quantity of waste that it takes to make a chair. Because the chair, I think when you lift it, actually, and you lift 70 pounds of something, you realize that's 70 pounds of 3D print plastic scrap that someone threw away.
Is that how much it weighs?
Yeah.
Like 70 pounds?
Yeah.
Tell me about what the material looked like when you first got it, like the raw material.
So a lot of it came as like 3D printed objects. So if people don't like their 3D print, if it's not perfect, or all the supports, they just look like little kind of plastic lines. All of that just went into a bin and we got the bin. So it is like huge things that we then ground up with like a wood chipper, basically.
So you guys became the recycling plant.
Yes. So we shipped it all into then pellets that we could melt down, but it came as like, oh, this is someone's, and I could look at it and I was like, oh, someone 3D printed like a rose, or someone 3D printed like a little car. Like they were real things.
And now it's a chair.
Or like, this is a milk jug, this is a spoon. Like they came as real objects that then we had to shred.
Well, that process must have been, I would have felt like you said, you get to see, it's not that easy to reuse a spoon. I think I would have been very taken aback of how long this process actually takes.
Oh, yes.
Was there anything that surprised you, or any takeaways that like you weren't expecting from the project?
I think the majority of the time I spent during this project was honestly on building the tool itself, not as much what I produced with it, or at least not yet. I want to continue to work on it. But tool making is kind of an entirely different, bag of skills that I didn't have as much previous experience with. But I think it's really important to kind of have those hands-on fabrication-based studios, especially in a field like architecture, where I feel like we don't work with our hands nearly as much as maybe we have in the past.
What role do you think that architecture can have in sustainability?
I think first and foremost, just having a realistic scope of knowledge. Working with plastic, it's been a little, it's chaotic, it's different, it's messy, and I think having that full understanding of the benefits, the pitfalls, that kind of thing, and being able to come at it from a place of knowledge. I think architects often think of themselves as sculptors of the built environment, which is true, but I think in a world where sustainability is really important and every project needs to have a sustainability focus, that can be a point where the architect can kind of come in with this full knowledge and say, this will work, this won't work, this will work, but this has these trade-offs, and I think that's a really important kind of knowledge place to slot in. So.